Well, hello, beautiful people. Welcome to Dr. Z Lessons live stream, where we've been streaming live for the month of September. If you are new here, I am Z. I share lessons in faith, family, and fulfillment. I hope that by sharing my lessons, it helps you to embrace your own. So I faith, family, and fulfillment. A little feedback. Hope that by sharing my lessons, it helps you to embrace your own. Oh, there we go. Okay. So again, if you're new here, welcome, 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 welcome. I appreciate you tuning in, whether you're tuning in live or whether you're coming in through the replay. I am so glad you are here. We are gearing up for part 2 of our series, and we were talking about finding our identity as a mom. If you missed that, you can go back to part 1 and you can totally go back and see the whole thing to find out what you missed. We'll recap a couple of things tonight, so no worries, so that you're all caught up and on the same page. But feel free to go back and view that video on the channel. Again, I want to thank those of you who have been with us for a bit and you've been supporting. I do appreciate you for tuning in, and I hope that you gained some valuable tools today. And for anyone that would like anything that is mentioned in this video, whether it's a tool, a tip, a resource, or anything that could help aid you in your journey, whether you are a stay-at-home mom, whether you're a homeschool mom, virtual learning mom, whether you're not a mom and you're just here in this game just trying to gain some tools and learn some things that hopefully will be helpful to you. Doesn't matter how you've come, I appreciate you being here. And if you are interested in any of those resources, in the chat, I'm going to link a form, and you can feel free to fill out that form to receive any of the resources that were mentioned. If you have any trouble with that, you can let me know. I'll try to do it one more time just to make sure it comes through. So yes, there it is. You can feel free to go ahead and click the form to receive any of the tools that we talk about. I just want to make sure I say that before I forget. Okay, so I will once again just welcome you, and we always start our lives with what's called Mom Shine, which is our opportunity to hey, welcome, Kristen. Good to see you. Yes, I was saying we always start our lives with what's called Mom Shine, and it's our opportunity to just highlight a mama that's out there just in their own niche, doing their own thing, but just fabulous with it, and really trying to just help others and encourage others in some way through something that they are either offering, a service, a product, a tool, something. Hey, Karlene J, thank you for joining. So yes, so our Mom Shine, and I have my little ditty that I have to do with it. So, Mom Shine, shining the light on you, mamas. My little jingle. If you know me, I have to make everything a jingle, a song. So tonight's Mom Shine is actually another YouTuber, and it is the Soaring Seaward family. This is another YouTube mama. She's a mama of 5, and she's also a caretaker, a wife. She has so many things that she does, and she wears so many hats. And one of those things is her YouTube channel, where she is so taking the time out to share her family, to share her, let me just get that off the screen to make sure you see it, to share her family, to be able to share her life, whether it's talking about the plants that she's grooming. I mean, she's got more plants than I can even count. And she talks about wellness. She talks about health. She deals with managing life, faith, family, hope, all of those things. And one of the things that has caught my attention through following her on IG is that she also has her mompreneur business, where she is creating these beautiful, to me, work of art. She does tumblers, she does mugs, and she can customize these things. She's doing pots, I mean, coffee cups, pots. And I recently ordered from her. Can't wait for it to come. I'll probably do an unboxing on the video, on another video, so that you guys can see all that she's up to. But check her out. It is the Soaring Seaward family, and her Etsy is actually linked. Let me drop that link myself so you guys can check her out on Etsy and support the C Word Creations. Yet another thing that we can do to encourage each other and lift each other up. And I'm just so happy to support other moms that are, all of you are fabulous to me. Just so you know, all of you are doing something. And if I can't say enough about it, there is something that you're doing naturally that somebody needs. And it's just the nature of who we are. It's what God has placed in us. So continue to shine. And I just wanted to really shout out the C Word family and say, keep shining in the place that you are, right there where you are. All right, guys. So we are talking about using our time to become a better mom. So I always like to not just throw out terms and think that everybody believes the same thing. And that word better is so abstract. It's not a concrete word. It's not something that you could say, okay, what you say is better is what I say is better. And so I'll throw out that question to you in the chat of what do you think when you say, if you want to become a better mom, what does that look like to you? Okay, what does that mean to you? What do you define as a better mom? Okay, so if you can drop me a line on that. And while you're doing that, I'm going to give a bit of a recap. If I were to answer that question myself, I might say that having the capacity to be able to attend to my children. I might say being available to take care of them, to be able to see them, see their gifts more clearly, understand how to direct their paths, things of that nature. I might also say that being a better mom is being able to care and take care of myself and have the things that I need to make sure that I am whole and that I'm able to do those things as well. And so those might be some things I would say, but I'd love to hear, what do you see as better? And as you are sharing that with me, I'm going to go over kind of the definition, because we're talking about identity, because we talked about what would you do to be better. And now we're talking about identity. And to me, it's important for us to have the same kind of framework for what I mean by identity. So let me throw that up so that you guys can see that definition of what I mean. And so when I am referring to identity, Webster's dictionary defines it as, according to Webster, the distinguishing character or personality of an individual. So our personality, our character, the things that we do kind of generically in different situations and circumstances. So that's how they are defining it. Yes, I see you. Hey, Kia. Hello, welcome to the chat. And welcome. Oh, Kristen, I see you've commented, yes, making my kids more of a priority. Okay, good. We're talking about what are some things that you define as being a better mom. Okay, and then I was just going over the definition of identity. So back to Webster, they were saying that it's the sameness or essential or generic character in different instances. But when I'm talking about identity for the purposes of this chat, I'm saying that it's who you are apart from what one individual or scenario has the power to take away from you. So basically, if you are defining yourself based on who's in your life or what scenarios present themselves, then that is the opposite of what I'm saying identity is. I'm saying that nothing can come in or out of your life to change this about you. So I gave the example last week of those who may be a baller. You ball, right? So you could be a baller and say, I'm a baller. That's my identity. But if you break your ankle or you tear your ligament and you're no longer able to be that baller, then now what are you left believing about who you are? Are you no longer who you said you are? Or did we assign a role to our identity? And so basically my definition is saying who you are should stand alone. It should not be contingent on who's in your life, who's not in your life, what you are doing, and any of those things. So I gave the example of me being a worshiper, that, we've been in quarantine, and so I may not be able to go to a physical church, but I am a worshiper, that my ability to commune with God and to worship God is who I am. It's not predicated on where I am or what I have in my hand, what instrument, or if I'm singing in the choir, that it is within me to worship. So that means I can worship when I'm washing dishes. I can worship when I'm going to the store. I can worship in my prayer room. That's just who I am. And so that was one of the frameworks that I wanted to lay for you guys. So now I have a question for you. What do you see? So when you look at this picture, what do you see? I'm going to give some time to see what those of you in the chat say? Yes, K. Renee. Amen. So what do you see in this picture? So some of you, and maybe my chat is a little bit slow coming through, but some of you may be saying that you see, I don't want to give it away too soon. Okay, so, okay, Kia says that she sees two faces, okay? All right, so you may see two symmetrical faces, that there are two faces that are staring at each other and they look identical, okay? And then I see Kristen says that she sees a vase and two people facing each other. Okay, so in the first scenario, if you're seeing the two symmetrical faces, then the white is the background and the black is what's in the foreground. If you see the two faces, then those two faces become the foreground, and that white space is just white space in the background. Okay, so yes, you may be able to see one, you may be able to see another, or you may be able to see both. Okay, but the key is that you base all of those things on your perception. So we all come with a perception in which we view life and we view the world and we view ourselves and we view our roles. We come with that perception. And so what I want to focus on tonight, as I'm giving some tools from lessons that I've gained about this idea of using my time to be a better mom, is that I had to change my perception of what I thought my role was as a mom. And so it kind of stems from, if you'll let me go here for a minute, and the question that kind of comes with it is, what happens when you perceive yourself as the role you play? So for me, it was, I perceived myself as a mom, but I still associated with the things that I had done prior to becoming a mom, which is I was a teacher. So I put my efforts and my performance in things that related to performing as a teacher. Well, that didn't just lift off of me when I decided I'm going to come home and be a stay-at-home mom and take care of my babies. I still had the perception that I had to perform, because in work, we are performance-based. We get raises, we get achievements, we get pats on the back, we get all sort of things based on the assessment of our behavior. And other people look at those things and say, you're worthy of this. You're worthy of a raise, or you're worthy of being the employee of the month. And they base that on our performance. Well, here I am coming into the home, and now my children are the students or the pupils, so to speak. And I thought, I'm still performing. I'm still going to do. And those are going to be the things that make me feel worthy. Those are going to be the things that define me and define my role as a mom. And I had to shift that perception, because the duality, or what's contradictory about that, is that when we are identifying as a mom, it is a role, okay? But our role is not performance, it's relational, right? So the people that are in our lives, in our families, they relate to us. They get to experience us in ways that the work will never be able to. And so because of that, we could still be using the tactic of performance-based and trying to get our children to see, or get people to see performance, and defining ourselves on performance, and lose track of the fact that we're supposed to be relational. So in this idea, I had to really get to a place of understanding that me as a mom is not equated to performance. Me as Z is not equated to doing, but is equated to being. And that's important to unravel and unpack, because society does the same thing to us. It gives us this script that doing is what defines who we are. If I were to ask you, like, what do people want from you? Like, what do people want from each other? What do your children desire from you? What would you say? What do they want? What do they desire? I see y'all coming in. So some of you may say that they desire love, right? And that's good, right? They do desire love, and that's a part of it. Anybody have anything other than love that they would say that children desire? Okay. Lakia says attention. Yeah, they definitely want us, they want our attention, right? Any other ideas? Okay. Vandally says time. They desire time. Okay. Yep. Mm-hmm. I would be willing to say that what children desire is what we all desire. That there is no distinction between them and us. Good. Yep. I see approval. Yeah. We're all looking for acceptance. No matter how you spin it and what we call it, and part of that deals with love, we all desire acceptance. And I believe God made us that way because he wanted our hearts to be accepting of who he is and who he declared we are. So there is this need for acceptance in all of us. Okay. Yes, Chris. Affirmation. Yes. Okay. So notice how love, affirmation, approval, acceptance, none of those have to deal with performance. None of those have to deal with the things that we do. I can give you a prime example. There are many times in the beginning of this homeschool life where I was performing, dishes clean, house mop, kept, swept, dusted, all things well, food on the table, thought about the food, tried to make it what it was, do what it do, beds made and the laundry folded, and I'm sitting and I'm pooped, right? Exhausted. Kids come in from outside and they trap the dirt, all the mud into the foyer. They throw the dish that they just used into the sink. They go and they pull on the towels in the bathroom that I have neatly created and crafted for them, right? And so all of a sudden, what was bringing me worth, right? I'm looking for my kids to accept what I have done, the performance, right? And they're looking at me like, okay, when are we gonna eat? And so what does that tell you? That they're looking to relate to us, not to watch us perform. And I think what can happen is that it doesn't matter if you're in the workplace or you're at home, you can still carry performance into your life. For the things that I just said, I was home performing. I mean, turning tricks, doing it, right? And now I'm mentally and I'm physically exhausted, and my kids, they good. There's a problem. And so I had to shift my perception of my kids want relationship. They don't care if I'm performing to the top. They not thinking two hoots about how much clothes I folded, about how many times I performed the task. Not interested. They want to relate to me. So in order for me to be at a place to relate to them, to be better relationally, I had to undo the script of everything is occupation with preoccupation. Everything is preoccupying my time with gaining acceptance through doing, gaining acceptance through performance. And this is not to take away from work. Work has its place. We were created for work and purpose and things that God put in us. The problem is when we assign relationship to performance, and when we assign performance to relationship, we can reverse those roles and they begin to collide. And remember, I said society does this, and so I think it's easy for us to do it. And this next question is, what happens when you allow the perceptions of others to dictate the role you play? And I think this plays out really well in society because, hey, if you're anywhere close to 30, after a good bit of time at the family reunion and at all these events that you go to, one of the number one questions are, when are you getting married? As if somehow the act of marriage and taking on the role as a wife is assigning worth to you. That being single and being satisfied is an issue. Right? So we have assigned a task of doing as assignment of worth, right? So then you get married, right? And in the first 2 years, if you like me, you're looking like, you were my friend. Why I seem like you my foe now? Because I'm now face to face with this individual who I thought I could relate to on one level, but now you're reflecting me back to me more clearly. Because I tend to always say there's no greater challenge than your family that's in your house, because they really see you outside of performance, outside outside of the makeup, outside of anything that you could ever spruce up, right? They see us exactly for who we are. And because of that, because they can see us at face value, then they become the challenge to us. They kind of push on the things in us that we didn't want to look at, the things in us that we, weren't ready to wrestle with or deal with or address. They reflect that back to us. But guess what? So you get married and you looking and you trying to wonder, what was this about? Okay, so you got to walk that path. And no sooner than 2 years in, somebody's going to come to you and say, all right, when you having babies? Right? Once again, the act of doing is ascribed to my worth. It's not enough that I'm trying to relate and learn relationship and learn how to share with somebody food and how to talk and communicate and how to address all of these things that come up in life with just another individual. Now you're going to add others to my equation. Now you're going to say, I have to have something, even though it may not be the time for it. And so I think society sets us up to assign worth to the things that we do versus being, simply being. And as I shifted my perspective and my perception about the things in me that I really want to be better at, is being better with me. It's being better with understanding who God created me to be. It's being better at understanding what it requires of me to attend to me, so then I can better attend to my children. And I spent so much time trying to get that to work from a work perspective that I lost the time dedicated to relating. And so when I'm talking to you today, I'm talking to you from a flawed place of having walked out task-oriented performance versus now spending the time that I've dedicated as valuable to relating. Okay, so I love to hear you guys' thought on that, about this idea of perceptions, and that we can wear perceptions from our own selves, from our own place of, this is what makes me worth it, this is what defines me, or we can take on the perceptions of others and dictate the roles we play by those things, when neither or the other is true. Because indeed, who you are is who you are outside of marriage, is who you are outside of children, it's who you are outside of your occupation, outside of your career, outside of all the things that attach and ascribe themselves to you, that you become satisfied in being. Then you begin to relate better. And that is what I had to learn. That's one of those key lessons. All right, so what do you guys see in this picture? Waiting to hear some of your responses. What do you see here? So I used my husband as the as my example. I make him go through things ahead of schedule so I can make sure that they're properly being presented, so to speak. And so he mentioned that he sees two things. Okay, I see one. Okay, Lakia says she sees a lady with a big feather hat and a fur coat. Okay, does everybody see that? Does everybody see a lady with a big feather hat and a fur coat? Anybody see anything different? Well, what if I told you that we are capable of changing what we see, that we are capable of changing our perspective and our perceptions? So we heard from Lakia that she saw a big feather hat and a fur coat. So let's see if I can get you to see that there is something else. So let's look at that young woman and let's look at her ear. Okay, if you focus on her ear, I want you to make that ear an eye. So that's actually an eye. Okay. And then if you focus on her chin line, okay, which looks like a chin, I want you to make that the nose, okay? And then if you go down to her neck, it appears like there is this opening in the neck area, and I want you to make that the mouth. So if I give you those three things, what do you see? Can anybody see something else now? An older lady. Yes. Okay. So hopefully, based on my description, you can now there is a younger woman with a feather, but then there is a older woman as well. So I showed you this illustration to illustrate to you that we can come wired with certain perceptions about ourselves, with certain perceptions about our roles, with certain perceptions about who we are. But the beauty is that your perception can change, that you do not have to remain in the same mindset. And that's what I love about lessons, is that it helps me to change my perception. You can be trained to see things differently. The same way that I just showed you something by kind of spelling it out to you, you can be trained to see things differently. So you might be asking, okay, sounds good. This is great talk, right? But what does that look like? And so I'll give you an example, and I hope this kind of speaks to it. So today I was up really early and I was spending time in one of the rooms in my house that I spent a good bit of time in. Okay. So after spending some time in that room, I fell asleep. Okay. And the phone rang and it startled me and I woke up. And when I woke up, my mom was on the other end of the line. And from the tone in her voice, I could tell that something was wrong. Something was going on, right? Again, I can relate to her to kind of get a sense of when something's not right. And my mom informed me that a cousin that is the same age as me had passed away unexpectedly, complete shock. Okay. So I hear this news and I sit up, and now I'm spending time just talking through things with my mom. And that loss happened today. So we're talking about something that's very raw and that's very real. Okay. So what came to me and what occurred to me in that moment as I'm going through this grief and this process of trying to wrap my mind around the fact that someone in my family has lost their lives that I love dearly. Okay. I began to think about what had just occurred an hour before my mother called me. And what had occurred an hour before my mother called me is that I was spending time in my prayer room, letting out to God how much I needed him. I was spending time in prayer, expressing to God how much I needed him in my life, how much I needed him in my situations, how much I appreciated him. I was worshiping, okay? And I was also on a prayer call where I'm listening to other people pray, and I'm praying, in myself for other people, okay? So why am I telling you this? Because the old Z would have heard that news and it would have completely turned the trajectory of my day. It would have changed everything. How I responded to myself, to my children, to my spouse, how I was able to recover or be able to get through or be able to even make it through. Maybe I would have put the pillow over my head and just continued sleeping. And guess what? There's nothing wrong with that in and of itself. What I'm trying to get you to hear is that because I was filled up, because there was a measure of infilling that had occurred during my hour of taking care of me, bettering me, doing the things that I know I need to do to start my day, I was better prepared to hear the news, not to handle it because we're still grieving, right? But to be able to respond relationally to the people in my life. I was able to call other family members and talk to them and be relational. I was able to still have school, which on a given day, I would have shut down and said, no, we good. And that's still okay. But I was able to still recognize that there was a place to relate to my children and be even tempered with them because I'd already been filled. I already made me better. So that's what I mean by training and seeing things differently. You have to be able to be willing to see that you have to be better to make the world around you better. You have to present yourself in a way that says to you, I'm worth being better, because everybody I have to relate to today gets the effect of what's in me. And so if I don't take the time to hone in on me, to attend to my needs, to attend to what my mind needs, if I don't set aside time for that, then what I'm saying to the people that I relate to is that not only are you not worth being accepted, but neither am I. Oh, that's hard. That's a hard pill to swallow, that you could communicate to the people that you relate to, that you don't accept them because you don't make the time for them because you haven't made it for you. And so what you're giving out is this rush, this frantic, this let me just get everything done. I can't. I can be in the house all day and still not see you because I'm trying to play catch up. I'm trying to catch my breath. I'm trying to give the next thing. You know. Hold on. And I still do that. Let's be clear. Hold on. I got to get to this, right? But it's in moments when I realize that as I'm being better, I'm relating better. As I'm attending to the things that make me better, my children benefit. Everybody around me benefits. Then I can give out, not from a place of performance, but from a place of relating. I can recognize when somebody's hurting because I'm not in my own self saying, oh, you didn't do that. Oh, you forgot to put you got to take the food out the freezer and let it thaw. Oh, you begin to beat up on yourself and give yourself this script that you're not enough. You're not worthy. You're not doing fill in the blank because you've associated your performance with who you are. Instead of being able to get what you need so that you can focus relationally on who somebody else is. And so that was something that I had to do. I had to retrain myself. And one of the tools that I'll talk about that I use is something I came up with. And once again, you guys can get access to this. I'll put the link in again. If you want to join the Z list, this will get emailed to you, no strings attached, just from joining the Z list. But this was 16 monthly words. So I dedicated time to focusing on words that pertain to things I needed to be, right? Not necessarily to do, right? I needed to be relaxed. I was too uptight, too anxious, trying to kind of work myself through life, right? So for a month, I would focus on that word and I would put it up. Okay. So these are designed so that they can be like flashcards or index cards, and you can print them out and you can put them on a stick. You can write it out yourself, or you could just print it and put it on an index card. And so it told me, what does it mean? To release or bring relief from the effects of tension and anxiety. So I define it because I want to recognize what's going on inside of me. What is this that I'm feeling, right? And then for me, I pair it with a scripture because I'm always looking to take on truth. What does God say about it? Okay. And this is the scripture. Come to me, all who labor and are heavy laden and overburdened, and I will cause you to rest. Ooh, I need to relax. So I need to be reminded that doing is not going to help me relax. Okay. But being at a place where I can rest is going to make me more relaxed. And so I begin to just meditate, if you will, on these cards, and it goes on, you know, you can see, and I just found the words for me, and there's 16 different ones. So you could do it once a month. You could choose a word each month for 16 months, or maybe you just want to focus on a word for a week. And so you'll have 4 weeks worth of words. And so this was another word, transform. And again, I just give you the, you know, the corresponding scripture that goes with it. Okay. Waiting. If you're in a period where you are trying to find your way through something that you've been dealing with for a while, maybe it's an illness, maybe it's a weight that you thought would come sooner. Maybe it's now you're wanting to launch out in your passion, your career, that mompreneur task or that dream you've had, but you're in this waiting pattern. Okay, well, I don't want the waiting to become something that I'm just busy, but that I learn how to wait in a way that says that I'm developing the character that says I'm ready when it comes. Okay, so it changes my posture. So these are just some examples. Again, if you're interested in that, you can let me know and I will send it to you. But that was one of the things I did to retrain my mind, to reprogram the thoughts that I had in my head about doing, and to get to a place where I could reorganize and restructure my mindset first so that I could be better, so that I could then be a better mom. So it all came hand in hand. Okay. Let me know if that makes sense to you guys. Okay. The other thing that I did, and I'll share one more. I'll do that one in a minute. So there's another one that I have. Well, maybe it's on this same one. And it's called affirmations. It's similar to this one, but this one is just simply affirming. So there are words that just affirm who I am. This is not it right here, but that one is called affirmations, daily affirmations. And it's literally just the same kind of structure of an index card. And there are words in it where you can just put them up, and it's just speaking life into you. It's just something that you can constantly remind yourself of. And again, tailoring that into my day. Okay. And making that a part of who I am. Okay. And so those are things that I've used. Another tool is what's called my core 4. Okay, so this is an activity I do with young people as well, but I think it fits for anybody. So I'm gonna be talking to you all. Oh, thank you, Chris. This is so good. I have to go watch the replay. Yes. Watch the replay. If you need any resources, please let me know. Thank you for tuning in, Chris. Okay, so the other thing that I did, and I'm gonna take my picture away and just show hopefully you can still hear my voice, okay? Because I want you to be able to see this. So these are 50 words, common core values, okay? And so if you see words like adventure, justice, wealth, wisdom, and there are more and more and more. So this is an activity that I do where I take these 50 words and I look at those words myself and I circle the ones, just 10 of those words that, hey, welcome. And so I circle just 10 of those words that deal with my value system, right? What do I value, right? So I just start circling, right? I try to get just my top 10. If I try to get just my top 10, then I can at least give something to look at, okay? So I'm going to circle things like I value balance, right? Okay. I value, I know peace is on here somewhere. I definitely value peace. I value love, right? And so you take those words that are valuable to you and you circle them, okay? So again, a printable that you guys can get through signing up at the Z list, okay? So just in case you can't see it, I'm not sure how clear it is to you, but you take those words, you circle 10 of them, okay? And then from that list of 10, you're now going to act as if you're on a plane. You're in each one of your 10 items is luggage, okay? And so you've got your luggage on the plane, which are those words that are represented. And then the pilot comes on and says, listen, we're experiencing severe turbulence. This is a rocky flight. The only way we're gonna land safely is if we deplane, if we unload some of the luggage. It's just too much, right? So now from that list of 10, you have to narrow down that list to 4. So you have to determine what are your your 4 core values. What is it that I live my life? What's the defining things that I live my life based on? And so it takes a little bit of thought. You're going to really have to define what is your value system? Like, how are you building your life, you know, and what are those things that really are important to you? And so once you come up with your core 4, that is the thing for which you base your decision making off of. So in other words, one of my core 4 is truth, which is God's word to me, is God's word on any matter. So if I can't go to the word of God, and if I can't ask God to reveal to me what he's saying about this thing through his word or through the preached word or through something, then I'm like, yeah, probably not a decision I need to make, right? And another one that I have is family. I value my family, okay? As many of us I know would say we do. And so we can say we value something, but it doesn't mean our behavior reveals it, okay? So this activity is really a way for you to assess and evaluate for yourself. Is this really what I value, or is this just something cute? Is this nice? You know, it's nice to say we value growth. Oh, but when it's time to grow, when you're getting stretched in some area and you're having to contend with a life hack, something in your life that has come and ransacked your day, and it's to grow you, then are you really like, oh, I'm all about growth, right? No, we like, get out of here, okay? So when you say you value something, your decision making and the things that you do should line up to it. So when we go back to what I was saying about the beginning of my day and how after receiving the news that my cousin had passed, you know, I know that I have to have, if I'm going to say that my value is truth, but I ain't spending no time with God, then do I really value truth? You know, am I really valuing my own opinion? Am I really valuing what somebody else said or what society says or what media says? If I say truth is my value system, then I have to spend time getting to know the one for which I'm receiving truth from, right? In the same way that if you say family is important, if your day is consumed with everything but family, even though they're in the room and even though you're like, hey, what's up? Yeah, I see you. Yeah, I'm going to take care of your basic needs. But you say that's your value system. Though they may be valuable to you, they're not receiving the value from you. And that's very important. And that's something I had to learn. They may be valuable to me, but when I was working online and I'm at home and most of my day was consumed with being at a computer, they're not going to accept mommy has a job, which is very important because it's putting food on the table, right? mommy has a job, and these are all the things that mommy has to do on this computer. I got to grade papers, and I got to talk to these students, and I got to discuss with them. My kids are not going to look at me and say, we understand. No, because they are like us. We are relational. We want to feel accepted, even though somebody says we are accepted doesn't make it so. We want to experience what acceptance is. And so for our children to experience that, there has to be valued time. They have to have carved out time where it is clear, this is your time. This is what I'm dedicating to you. So I said all that because after shifting my perception and getting my core 4 values, now I had to align my life with those values. And anything that got in the way of that value system, it had to go. It couldn't be priority for me. And so that meant I had to reject things that may have fed my ego in the past, or may have made other people happy in the past, or may have appeased somebody to saying, this is what I value. So that means that my day is going to be much more peaceful because I'm doing things that I said are important to me. And so once I begin to reframe my thinking, I could be a better person and therefore relate better to the people around me. And this doesn't happen overnight. It takes time. It takes, like I said, being willing to do the work, being willing to look at your behaviors and say, does this really reflect who I say that I am? Okay. Sorry, you guys can see me. I didn't realize that. Does this really reflect who I say I am, right? Does this show that these are the things that I value? And so I had to reframe my understanding of what's valuable from performance-based to relationships. And so now when I think about my relationships, I don't have to pick up the phone on every phone call. I don't have to, talk to you 15, 20, 30 minutes to an hour in order for me to let you know I accept you. I can dedicate the time to spending with you, such as telling my children, for example, here's our calendar. Just like I make appointments for your doctors, just like I make appointments to pay bills, just like I put on the schedule, if there's an important event coming up, just like I put on the schedule when I have to complete some task, you're on the schedule. So I have put you as a valuable component of my calendar, not as like you got to come get an appointment. Surely I hope that we have more valuable times than that. But what it does to a child who thinks that their parent sees them and accepts them enough to say, on this date, it's about you. It's you, and I'm able to do that. Why? Because I set a value system that says family is important and my behavior has to showcase that. And I know naturally things come up in life. There's nothing wrong with putting it on the schedule, because that's why we put things on a schedule, because things happen. Life happens. There are things constantly occurring that will compete for our attention. We're constantly colliding in a world that says you have to do, you have to work, you have to perform. So in order for me to be relational, I have to make relational intentional. And so in order for that to be intentional, I have to put it on the schedule. So that is my way of saying, you are important to me, child. And if I dedicate my time to homeschooling, that is my time. The phone can ring all day long. And people know me. I tell people, you train people on how to respond to you, because the things you value, they'll begin to see you value. And I have people that'll text me and say, you must be homeschooling. I had a friend today. I haven't talked to her in a long time. She just got married. Can't wait to speak to her. I'm in the middle of spending time with my children. I dedicated this time to seeing them learn, to be able to create with them, to learn alongside them. So yeah, it seemed important to pick up the phone and talk to that friend and have a long blown out conversation, but it's not valued at that time. The time was set and assigned to this. And so I had to get to a place where that friend, I can now pick up the phone and talk, and we talk all, after that. But this is what I said was of importance to me. So I'm going to dedicate the time to that, which means then I don't have to overload myself with this to-do list of expectations that I put on myself to perform, because it's not who I am. It's just that. It's a performance. Okay. And so that is what I had to learn. I'm looking over at the chat. 100. Yeah. Girl, it's hard. These are the lessons. These were hard lessons. I had to walk the road of desiring to grow myself so that I could be better for me and the people around me. All right, guys, I got another picture for you. So let me get that pulled up. We saw that one. All right. So, oh, this is what I was saying. So these are just some tools that I kind of reiterate what I'm saying. So hold on, let me give you this one. So say it till you see it. The power of affirmations, right? So having something on your wall until you see it, until it manifests. Get it to continually get into you. You know, there is a power in repetition. There's a power in the voice that God gives us to speak a thing. And so that power works on the hand of light, and it also works on the hand of darkness. So if we're speaking worth based on performance, then that power is at work in us. But if we're speaking worth from a place of being, I am loved, I am forgiven, I am, you fill in the blank, special, I'm God's handiwork, you know, I'm fearfully and wonderfully made. Now we're beginning to speak into us the power for which we have to declare and then see a thing as we continue to do that work. So that's why I said the affirmations are really good. And then another one, this is key. This is what I had to really learn. High functioning is not the same as whole. There are people who will see you in your life and they'll be like, oh, girl, you do everything. You got this on lock. You're doing that. And you managing all those kids and you work in a business and you're doing right. But your body is saying, I'm mentally or physically exhausted. But you high functioning. Like, to the world, it can look like you just getting it done. You are doing everything, then some, right? Kicking it out, getting things done, right? But your spiritual and your mental capacity is at depletion. And so you've convinced yourself that you're high functioning when in fact you are done, but you're just going. And so I had to get to a place where I said, I want to be whole. I don't just want to be functioning. I want to be whole. And so that means mind, body, and spirit. If this body is a temple of the Lord, then that means I got to take care of this body. That means that what I put in this body matters. That means that if I'm not exercising, I'm not going to beat up on myself, but I'm going to see that I desire wholeness. So there are things that I may have to shift in my behavior that aligns with wholeness, right? I have to partner with God to achieve those things that I say I want in me, right? Inside of me, right? And then if you don't, then we're not beaten up because the performance didn't happen, because I'm still who I am outside of the performance. So it is a mental mind shift, okay? So I will not be defined by performance, but by the value I place on relationships. At the end of the day, when you speak about Z, I want it to be said that you saw the fruit of my relationships with people, the fruit of my relationship with my children, with my spouse, that you saw peace, that you saw love exemplified. And on days that you don't, it just tells you I'm still in work. I'm still in progress. I'm still in process. Okay. God is still doing it, but that doesn't take away from who he's created and who he's called me to be. Okay. So that was a key one. Okay. I want to say this thing about comparison, because sometimes we have this idea through perception that other people are knocking it out the park, right? They've got all the things, all the dots dotted, all the T's crossed, right? And the danger and the benefit, there is both, of comparison. The danger is that you've now assigned your life to my challenges, but you don't have my challenges. I don't have your challenges. And I always say to people that what God gave me is my greatest challenge. He gave me that to handle. He knew that my children were going to have to work something out of me. He knew that my spouse was going to present something that would challenge me. You don't have my children. You don't have my spouse. So you can't compare. Because what God is giving you, he's giving you the grace to handle. What God is giving you, he's giving you the wherewithal. He put it inside of you, and we deny him of his power when we say that we can't do it. We can't handle. No, in and of itself, we can't, right? And that's why the word is telling us to lean and depend, not on our own understanding, but on an knowledge of him. And he's going to direct us in the way of our own family. So that's the danger with comparison, is that we are wanting to take on what somebody has, but we don't have what they have, right? You got to take all of it. You got to take the down times. You got to take the highs. You got to take the illness. You got to take everything that comes with being who you say you want to be. Instead of wouldn't it just be easier to relax in, God, you made me this way. This is who I am. And for what you've given me, this is what you have that I can now grow from, that I can build from, that I can be better at. The benefit of comparison, though, is, oh, thank you. Hey, Sandra. Hey. So the benefit of comparison is we ought to be looking at something that brings us higher. We should not want to stay the same. As long as there is breath in our body, we should be wanting to be better, but not better in performing, better at taking care of this vessel, right? Who we are, right? So we shouldn't be thinking, oh, don't look at nobody else because my life is grand. No, 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 no. There is something that somebody has that you need. So in that sense, yeah, we should be looking at comparison because perfect example, I met somebody recently who has been able to leverage in the business field, right? I mean, they are, I'm thinking like above and beyond my pedigree of even understanding business, right? But I got to have a conversation with that person, and that person is complimenting me. They're like, oh, you just this going and that going. And I'm thinking, if you only knew how much I am gleaning from you, right? It should be that way because iron sharpens iron. There's something somebody has, some tool, some strategy, something that they are implementing that can better your life, your livelihood, your sense of doing, right? But it should not be to a place that is a detriment to your worth, right? So I should be looking at them from a place of they have, I don't, therefore I'm not worthy. What? No, 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 no. And that's an inner work. That's a work that we have to do because that can come from so many different places. It can stem from so many different circumstances of what we've had in our own when we were parented, right? But we have to be willing to say, I don't want that. I'm not going to receive that person as being who I am. I'm not going to deny who God said I am for the sake of comparing myself and believing I'm not worthy, right? And so I have to get to a place where I see that there is some things that I do desire and I need, and they're for me, right? But then there are some things that's just going to be the work that I do, that God reveals to me. Okay. And this next illustration hopefully will show you that. Okay. So we talked about that, right? Reward over rejection. So for me, it's priority over intent, right? We can intend all day long. I mean, I intend to exercise. I mean, I was going real strong for a long time, right? Sound good. Don't mean that I'm going to prioritize it though. It just means it sounds good because I know it's good for me, right? But the other day I was so drained. I was so depleted. I was so done. And I kept saying to my husband, I got to get back, because I felt different when I was doing this. There was something that energized me in doing this. So I got to prioritize it. You see what I'm saying? And so going from just intent, we can have the best of intentions to prioritizing our values, not just saying, okay, yeah, I'm going to be there for you. Okay, yeah, child, I'm going to spend some time with you. You have to prioritize it to make it a habit, right? To make it be something that's a part of your makeup, a part of your script, right? And so I had to begin to shut off and recognize those things that was taking away from priority. It was good intentions. Yeah, baby, I'm going to spend time painting your nails. Good intentions. But, oh, this came up. We got to go to grandma's house. She got something going on. We going, right? Good intentions, but I didn't make it priority. And so that's the shift, shifting from intentional to be, we are going to be intentional, but from just having a good heart, because mamas have a good heart. Let's be clear, right? We mean well, but to saying this is priority enough that it's not just going to be a performance. It's going to be my way of relating. It's how I do life, right? It's how I do things. And so that was the difference that had to occur in me. All right. So what do you see? What do you see? I'm going to make this one bigger because I really want to hear what you see. What are y'all seeing in this picture? So I can almost bet that one thing that you see, as I'm waiting for comments to flow in, should I say it or should I wait? Should I wait for y'all to tell me what you see? I don't want to tell you what you see. I think sometimes the comments are a little delayed. Okay, here they go. All right. I see a frog on water. Okay. Yes, you see a frog on water. Somebody else says a sad horse gazing. Oh my. A sad horse. Does anybody see the sad horse gazing? I see, and a frog. Okay. Frog. Okay, guys, I have to tell you, I stared at this picture probably for longer than I should have because it wasn't part of my value system. But I did. I stared at it for way longer than I should have because I kept trying to see other than this frog. I was like, there is a frog and there is still a frog. And 20 minutes later, there is still a frog, right? And so I kept trying to see, and I'm going to be honest, I cheated. I went and looked online. I was like, hey, help me see what I don't see. And I had to go through like all these pictures to kind of figure out, okay, what is this, right? What is this that I'm seeing? And I mean, they had to make it real plain, like, okay, 101 dummy style. Oh, and I said, oh, there is a set. Lakia, you gifted, boo. There is a sad horse gazing, right? And so if you don't see the sad horse gazing, that's okay, right? But if I had to try to help you and you still may not see it, okay, when you look at the lily pad that the frog is on, okay, that is actually the horse's mane inside of the water. So imagine the horse dipping its head inside the water, right? And it's looking outward, and what looks like the frog's kind of hind, look, right there's like a little hole that looks like it's a part of the frog's legs going into the legs. That's actually the eye of the horse that's looking up and looking out. Y'all, do y'all see it yet? Anybody see that? And then there is the nose, or the eye, sorry, of the frog that's actually the nose of the nostrils, rather, of the horse. Okay, so y'all, you still may not see it. You may be like me, where you like, hey, I need to see visuals. I need somebody to really paint the picture and make it plain. So let me know if after describing that, you even see, do you even see the horse? Does anybody else see the horse? I know you see the frog, but do you see the horse? Oh, I see it now. Oh, good. Right. Okay. So yes, maybe you did see it, but guess what? Maybe you didn't. Okay. And I just have to state this fact. Sometimes I won't see it until I see it. So there are some things that come with the territory of getting whole and being better and wanting to work on things that are in you, right? There's just some things that's not going to happen until it happens. There's just some processes that aren't going to occur until they occur. And we have to be okay with not feeling like we have to force something in our process. Your process is your process, and you're going to get there. So whatever journey you find yourself on right now to being better, be on the journey and allow yourself to be. Because even in being, you're getting closer to that next step in the process. Don't try to circumvent it, because that's the task-oriented person. We're mamas. We're so task-oriented. So we can want to say, okay, God, now I need to get to D. Why am I still at A? Put me back, put me forward to D. Like, I've been in this process for a long time. And God is like, and your eyes still have to become open to that thing that's still there, that thing that you won't surrender, that thing that you're holding on tight to because you didn't know I could handle it, that thing that made you believe that you were not going to make it in this role, that thing that told you that you're not valuable, that you'll never measure up, that thing that's causing you to doubt, that's causing you to believe that your kids is going to keep driving you crazy and you'll never get to this place where you're at peace with them, let alone being in the same room. That thing has to become open to you. And it won't come open until it comes open. And so you just have to be willing to submit to the process. Live with the fact that you are discovering, you are uncovering, and you are relearning, you are unlearning, and you are transforming over and over and over time. And that is the beauty of time, is that it gives us an opportunity to see growth, to be able to measure our growth, to reflect back on our growth, to say, I'm not going back to that. I remember what that was like. I remember what that felt like. We're not going there no more. If you don't have the time to be there long enough, to know that you were in that long enough to where it exhausted you, long enough to where you said never again, if you didn't have that, you go back to it. I can almost guarantee you, because stuff would be in for a minute. Yes, Kay Renee, I thank you. I appreciate you so much holding on and hanging in there. Y'all, she helps me moderate and everything. Please check out Kay Renee's channel. Another mama that, woo, it's just authentic. I just love authentic people and real people about their life and their process. I appreciate you being on. Thank you so much. You guys, I promise I'm not holding you much longer because I see we all turned in the corner. But I just wanted to reiterate that wherever you are in your time and in your process, own it, okay? Be able to embrace that that's where you are, because as you are in that process long enough, you begin to understand what freedom feels like to come out of it. You begin to understand what growth looks like when you're at a different place and you're looking back and you're like, look how far I've come. You begin to embrace and appreciate the people that are around you, because now you can see how you're better able to relate to them because you took the time to go through that process. And so have I ever arrived? No. Will I ever fully get there? Maybe once I'm in heaven, right? But I am not there yet. I am yet learning. There just today, I can tell you a circumstance where my daughter had to apologize to her in the car. We're going to the post office. I'm trying to see if a package has come. She's in the back seat of the car and she just wants to talk to me. Like 3 years old, I just want to talk to my mommy. And in the process, I got the music playing that she loves, that she requested, right? It ain't even my music. She requested it. I'm trying to get to the post office, and over top of the music and me trying to focus on the road, she wants me to see her just to dance into the music, right? And I'm like, mommy can't see you dancing to the music. Mommy trying to drive. And when I took a little glance back, her just little face just looking defeated, right? Like, really, mommy? And I said, that hurt your feelings? And she said, you did. And I said, okay, I apologize for hurting your feelings. I said, this music is loud. And I said, but I know you like it. So I wanted to play it for you. I said, and then mommy is trying to focus on the road to loud music. And I said, but I want to play it for you. And I said, it's hard for mommy to look back, you know what I'm saying, and watch you to this loud music and driving on the road. So I said, what would you like? Would you like to listen to the music or you want me to talk to you? And she said, I'm going to listen to the music. And I said, thank you. So all that to say, I was really wanting to be like, turn the music off, lady, child, I can't talk to you right now. So, but I'm saying that to tell you that there is a process and that I am constantly having to reflect on where I am and reevaluate where I want to be and own that this is where I am right now, because I don't know what time I have. None of us know that, right? Time is but a vapor. So that means with what we're given, we have to be prioritizing and be clear about what we're saying we're going to attend to and what we're saying we're not going to attend to. And I hope that some of those resources that I share with you will help you along the way. And just to recap, some of those resources would be reprogramming and reframing my mindset. And that dealt with those words for the month. It also dealt with affirmations that I put up, both of which I have printables for you if you would like. I'll drop it one more time. That forms the link for the forms if you're interested in that. And the other thing I talked about is your core 4 values, and that sheet that I gave you with those values where you can do the activity to hone in on your 4. Okay, the last and final thing that I think I did not discuss was, it's called the time block system. And this is just a tool that I use, and I'm not sure how well you can see it, but it's a tool that I use to be able to make it a little bit bigger, to be able to block my time, basically prioritize my time. This is just a sample. So notice that first copy is that first category, right? Is self-care, right? So I am a person that gets up, it says 6:30, but for me on the real, I'm having to get up at 6. Sometimes I'm sliding out of bed. Sometimes I'm sleeping in the bed, but between 6 and 8:30, I try to make that about me. So no matter if I oversleep, or if I get up at 5:30 or 6, I do something in that block that feeds my soul. And usually that is in prayer. It's usually journal. It could be taking a shower. It could be making my bed and feeling like I did something that, I know when I get back, I like to feel at peace when I get back to my bed. So whatever that is for you, you're dedicating that time because you say it's of value, not because the world says it, but because you said it. And then usually that next segment, I called it on here in the sample morning routine. It's usually my school time with the kids. And so mine goes from 9 to 1. This one says 8:30 to 12:30. But essentially it's your time with, it's my time rather with my children that I'm going to dedicate to learning and attending to them, getting the things, the data that I need from my children on what their needs are through school, through breakfast, through getting dressed. That's that block for them. Now, obviously, if you're working outside of the home, your block is not going to look like this. If you're working on a job that requires you to be doing something in the house, your block's not going to look like this. So this goes back to, you get to block out your time. You get to assign value to the things that you're doing, okay? And so it goes on and on and on. So this is another printable that is available, which is the time block system. It will be a blank one with all those pretty colors. You can change the colors. It's edible so that you can change it to suit your needs. So I want to make sure I did state that. You guys, I just wanted to again tell you that I appreciate you tuning in. All of you who came on through the chat, I hope that you gained some tool, some resource, some strategy, or just like, you know, something that I said that either made you laugh or smile or be like, yeah, I know about that. That was me too. Because this is really just our time to be able to relate to each other as mamas, and more than anything to realize that being better is not doing better. But being better is just that, being. And so our ability to be and our ability to attend to ourselves and to make sure we're working internally on us, whether that's physically, spiritually, mentally, emotionally, all the above, so that we are whole and that we are able to look at ourselves and say, she's fearfully and wonderfully made. She's beautiful. She is God's child, right? Whatever affirms you and makes you see who you are, and that who you are is yet enough for you to relate to the people in your life. And so I pray that you all just have a prosperous and wonderful and blessed day. Please keep my family in your prayers as we are again grieving the loss of a loved one. I thank you. I'm also praying for those that have been stricken by the hurricane or involved in any sort of trial that has to do with the hurricane or COVID or anything else. My prayers are with you and your family, that he will bless and keep you, and may his ways continue to be your settling in all things. Know that he has the final say. And so I appreciate and love you all for tuning in. I thank you for taking your time out, and God bless you. Have a beautiful evening.